I'm standing in my living room, staring at empty spaces where my grandmother's jewelry box used to sit. The $475,000 house I bought with my own money? My mother-in-law just violated it. Threw out $15,000 worth of my belongings while we were on vacation. My clothes. My family photos. My daughter's baby books. Patricia left a note on the kitchen counter. Marcus and Sophia deserve better than living with your clutter. You're welcome. And when I called her, furious and shaking, she had the audacity to smirk and say, "This is Marcus's family home." I have every right. Except it's not Marcus's home. It's mine. Solely mine. My name is on the deed, not his. And Patricia just made the biggest mistake of her life. But let me back up and tell you how I got here. Hey everyone, welcome back. If this is your first time here, I share real stories of family betrayal and the satisfying revenge that followed. If you've ever had a toxic mother-in-law who treated you like the hired help, you're going to relate hard to this one. If you find this story valuable, I'd appreciate your support, a like, a comment, or joining this community for more stories like this. Share your own mother-in-law horror story in the comments. I read every single one and your experiences matter. Now, let's get into it. My name is Jennifer Nakamura, but everyone calls me Jen. I'm 32 years old and I'm a software engineer earning $94,000 a year at a tech startup in Portland, Oregon. I've been married to Marcus for 6 years, and we have one daughter together, Sophia, who's 4 years old. We live in Southeast Portland in a beautiful 3-bedroom craftsman-style home with a backyard and a garden that I tend every weekend. Here's the thing about our house, it's mine. Completely mine. When Marcus and I got married, he was drowning in student loans from his MBA program. We're talking $85,000 in debt. So when we started house hunting, I provided the entire down payment, $95,000, from my savings and my late grandmother's inheritance. The deed went in my name only. Marcus understood this arrangement. He focused on paying down his loans while I built our equity. It wasn't about trust. It was about finances. We were a team with different responsibilities. My mother-in-law, Patricia Nakamura, is 59 years old and a retired bank manager. She has significant savings, owns her own home outright, and lives comfortably in West Hills with her perfectly manicured lawn and her country club membership. Patricia always treated me like I was beneath her son. From the moment Marcus introduced me to his family, she made it crystal clear that I wasn't good enough for her golden boy. I'll never forget our first family dinner. Marcus had hyped it up for weeks, assuring me his mom would love me. We walked into her pristine dining room with its white tablecloths and china that probably cost more than my car. Patricia looked me up and down. I was wearing a nice dress, nothing fancy but appropriate, and her first words were, "Oh. Marcus said you worked in tech." I expected someone more polished. That set the tone for everything that followed. The differences between how Patricia treated me versus how she treated Marcus were stark from day one. Growing up, Marcus told me she'd thrown elaborate birthday parties for him every year. Professional photographers. Catered meals. Guest lists of 50-plus people. When we got engaged, Patricia hosted an engagement party at her country club. She invited 80 people. She introduced me to exactly 3 of them. The rest of the evening, I stood awkwardly by the punch bowl while Patricia paraded Marcus around like he'd just won the Nobel Prize. Our wedding reception was even worse. Patricia stood up during the toasts, uninvited, and announced to 120 guests, "My son could have married anyone. Literally anyone. But he chose to settle. I suppose love is blind." The room went silent. Marcus laughed nervously and tried to brush it off as a joke. I smiled through gritted teeth while my bridesmaids exchanged horrified looks. My maid of honor, Casey, whispered, "Did she actually just say that?" When Sophia was born, things escalated. Patricia showed up at the hospital uninvited while I was still recovering from a difficult labor. She walked past me without acknowledgement, scooped up Sophia from the bassinet, and started taking photos with her grandbaby. When I asked her to let me hold my own daughter, she responded, "You'll have plenty of time with her." I need to send these to the family. Marcus, exhausted and overwhelmed, didn't intervene. The criticism became constant. I chose to breastfeed? Patricia told anyone who'd listen that I was making things harder than necessary, and that formula was perfectly fine. I selected a daycare center with excellent reviews and a curriculum focused on developmental milestones. Patricia stopped by unannounced and told the director, "My daughter-in-law doesn't know what she's doing. Call me if there are any real emergencies." I nearly died of embarrassment. Patricia had a key to our house, a decision Marcus made without consulting me because family should have access. She'd show up randomly, always when I was working from home in my yoga pants and old t-shirts. She'd walk through our house, rearranging my kitchen cabinets, reorganizing my pantry, and leaving passive-aggressive notes. This is how a proper household runs. I'd come home from the office to find my spice rack completely reorganized alphabetically instead of by frequency of use. My coffee mugs moved to a different cabinet. My daughter's toys sorted by type instead of how Sophia actually played with them. "Patricia, please don't rearrange my kitchen," I said one afternoon after finding everything moved again. Her response? "Jennifer, dear, this isn't your kitchen. This is my son's home. I'm just maintaining family standards." "Actually, it's my house," I corrected, trying to stay calm. "My name is on the deed." She laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, honey. Community property laws. What's yours is Marcus's. You really should educate yourself about marriage." That interaction stuck with me. The dismissiveness. The condescension. The complete disregard for my autonomy. Family holidays were torture. One Thanksgiving, Patricia seated me at the kids' table while giving my seat to Marcus's ex-girlfriend, Amanda, who she'd conveniently forgotten was invited. Amanda sat next to Marcus all evening while Patricia gushed about what could have been. I sat between Sophia and Marcus's 8-year-old nephew, cutting turkey into small pieces and pretending this was normal. Marcus, when I brought it up later, said, "Mom's just set in her ways. Don't let it bother you." But it did bother me. It bothered me that every single achievement I earned was diminished. When I got promoted to senior software engineer, a huge career milestone with a $15,000 raise, I called Marcus excitedly from the office. He was at his parents' house. I heard Patricia in the background, "Well, someone has to work since you make Marcus miss family events." Marcus didn't defend me. He just said congratulations and changed the subject. For years, I tolerated it. I told myself marriage required compromise. That family dynamics were complicated. That Patricia would eventually respect me. I was wrong. Last summer, Marcus and I planned our first real family vacation in years. We'd both been working nonstop, me climbing the corporate ladder, him managing a sales team after finally paying off his loans. We decided on Hawaii. 2 weeks of sunshine, beaches, and quality time with Sophia. The trip cost $8,500, flights, resort, activities, everything. I'd been planning it for months. 3 weeks before departure, I specifically told Patricia about our vacation during a forced family dinner at her house. "We're leaving for Hawaii on the 15th for 2 weeks. I've hired a house sitter, Sarah, to check on things while we're gone." Patricia's face hardened. "So you're abandoning family again?" "We're taking a vacation," I said evenly. "Our first one in 2 years. Marcus has responsibilities here. But I suppose your career comes first as always." Marcus, predictably, said nothing. Just kept eating his pot roast. The house sitter, Sarah, was a college student I'd hired through a reputable service. She'd stay at our house, water the plants, collect mail, and keep an eye on things. I left her detailed instructions and my contact information. I trusted her completely. 5 days into our trip, while Sophia was building sandcastles and Marcus was paddleboarding, my phone rang. Sarah's name flashed on screen. "Jennifer? I'm so sorry. Your mother-in-law is here." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean she's there?" "She showed up about an hour ago with a locksmith. She told him there was a family emergency and she needed to get inside." I tried to stop her, but the locksmith picked the lock before I could call you. "She's been inside for the past hour and Jen, she's throwing things away. Your clothes. Boxes from the closets." I tried to intervene and she told me I was fired and to leave. I was already pulling up flights on my phone. "Stay there. Document everything. Take photos. I'm coming home." Marcus overheard the conversation. What's going on? Your mother broke into our house and is throwing away my belongings. He actually tried to rationalize it. Maybe there's a misunderstanding. Let me call her. Marcus, she hired a locksmith to pick our lock. There's no misunderstanding. We got the first flight out the next morning. The flight home felt like it lasted forever. I kept imagining what Patricia was doing to my house. My things. My space. Sarah sent periodic updates with photos that made my blood boil. Patricia had garbage bags lining our driveway. Our bedroom closet was emptied. My office, my sanctuary, looked ransacked. When we finally arrived home, I walked through my front door and felt physically sick. The living room shelves where I displayed family photos? Empty. My grandmother's jewelry box that had sat on my dresser for years? Gone. My professional wardrobe, the suits and dresses I'd carefully curated for work, missing. Sophia's baby books, the ones I'd meticulously maintained with photos and developmental milestones, nowhere to be found. Patricia had left a note on the kitchen counter, written in her careful handwriting, "Marcus and Sophia deserve better than living with your clutter. I've organized what matters." You're welcome. I stood there holding that note, my hands shaking with rage. Sarah approached cautiously. She took several bags with her when she left. Said they belonged to family now and she was keeping them safe. Did you get her on video? Your neighbor, Mrs. Chin, caught some of it on her Ring camera. She said she'd share the footage. I immediately went next door. Mrs. Chin, bless her, had captured everything. Patricia arriving with the locksmith. Patricia loading garbage bags into her Mercedes. Patricia making multiple trips, including one where she carried out my grandmother's jewelry box, clearly visible on the footage. When I called Patricia, she answered on the third ring. Patricia, what the hell did you do? Her voice was calm, almost amused. I did you a favor. That house was a disaster. Marcus and Sophia deserve better. You threw out my belongings. My grandmother's jewelry. My daughter's baby books. I kept the important things safe at my house. You can thank me later. You broke into my house and stole from me. She laughed. Actually laughed. Don't be dramatic, Jennifer. This is Marcus's family home. I have every right to maintain it properly. If you don't like how I run things, you're welcome to leave. That's when I knew. This woman genuinely believed she owned my house. She believed Marcus's name should have been on the deed and that I was just occupying space in his home. The disrespect was so profound, so complete, that she felt entitled to violate my property and steal my possessions. I hung up and turned to Marcus, who'd been listening. Your mother broke into our house, threw out $15,000 worth of my belongings, stole family heirlooms, and told me I'm welcome to leave if I don't like it. What are you going to do about it? Marcus ran his hand through his hair, looking overwhelmed. She clearly went too far. Way too far. But maybe we can work this out. I'll talk to her. Get your stuff back. We don't need to escalate this. Escalate? Marcus, she committed crimes. Multiple crimes. She's my mother. And I'm your wife. The wife who owns this house. He looked at me helplessly. Can we just not make this a legal thing? Family doesn't sue family. That's when I understood. My husband would never protect me. He would never prioritize our marriage over his mother's feelings. For 6 years, I'd accepted crumbs of loyalty while Patricia devoured our boundaries. Not anymore. That evening, after putting Sophia to bed, I sat at my desk and made a list. Everything Patricia had stolen or destroyed. My grandmother's jewelry collection, $8,000, appraised 3 years earlier. Professional wardrobe, $3,500, suits, dresses, shoes. Family photos and albums, irreplaceable. Sophia's baby books, irreplaceable. Personal items and clothing, $2,000. Home office supplies and equipment, $1,500. Estimated total, $15,000 in replaceable items, plus irreplaceable sentimental belongings. Then I Googled Portland, Oregon property attorney and found Rachel Kim, an attorney who specialized in property disputes and restraining orders. Her reviews were excellent. People called her thorough and aggressive when needed. The next morning, I called her office. Kim Law Office, how can I help you? I need to sue my mother-in-law for trespassing, theft, and destruction of property. Can you come in this afternoon? I met with Rachel for 2 hours. She listened to everything, taking detailed notes. When I showed her the Ring camera footage, the note Patricia left, and the text messages where Patricia admitted cleaning up that disaster you call a home, Rachel actually smiled. This is one of the strongest cases I've seen. She documented her own crimes. I can work with this. What will this cost? For comprehensive legal action, filing police reports, civil suit, restraining order, I'd need an $18,000 retainer. Based on what you've shown me, we'll recover that in the judgment plus your actual damages. I signed the retainer agreement immediately. Then I drove to the police station. Filing the police report felt surreal. The officer taking my statement looked increasingly shocked as I explained the situation. So your mother-in-law hired a locksmith to break into your house, which is solely in your name, then stole and destroyed your property? Yes. And she admitted this in text messages? Yes. Ma'am, this is straightforward burglary and theft. We'll need to interview the locksmith and your house sitter, but this should result in charges. Within 3 days, Rachel had compiled our case. She tracked down the locksmith, who confirmed Patricia paid him $250 and claimed there was a medical emergency. She said her son lived there and had fallen. Needed to get inside immediately. I feel terrible. She completely lied to me. Rachel drafted a formal demand letter requiring Patricia to return all stolen items within 48 hours. Pay $23,000 in compensation, replacement costs, emotional distress, and my time off work. Agree to a restraining order prohibiting contact. We sent it certified mail. Patricia's response came through her hastily hired attorney 3 days later. Mrs. Nakamura denies all wrongdoing and will not be paying anything. Any further communication should go through this office. Perfect, Rachel said. We file suit tomorrow. The civil complaint was 18 pages long, detailing every crime and violation. Criminal trespassing, burglary, theft, including specific itemization, destruction of property, fraud, lying to the locksmith, emotional distress. We attached the Ring camera footage, police reports, the locksmith statement, Sarah's sworn affidavit, and Patricia's own incriminating text messages. Rachel also subpoenaed Patricia's phone records showing her coordination with the locksmith. Marcus discovered what I'd done when the sheriff served him with a subpoena as a potential witness. Jen, you sued my mother? Your mother committed multiple crimes against me. Can't we handle this privately? She refused. Her attorney said she's not paying anything and denies wrongdoing. This is going to destroy our family. Your mother destroyed our family when she broke into my house and stole my grandmother's jewelry. He stared at me like I was a stranger. I never thought you'd actually do this. I never thought I'd have to. That night, I made another call. This one to Diane Foster, a divorce attorney Casey had recommended years ago during a conversation I'd hoped I'd never need to remember. I want to understand my options, I told Diane during our consultation. My husband's mother violated my home. He's defending her. I need to know what divorce looks like. Diane reviewed my situation, the house solely in my name, our joint custody of Sophia, Marcus's income versus mine. You're in a strong position. Sole ownership of the house is significant. We can file whenever you're ready. I wasn't ready yet. I needed to see how the lawsuit played out first. But I started documenting everything. Marcus's refusal to support me. His continued contact with Patricia despite what she'd done. His suggestion that I drop the charges to keep the peace. 2 months passed. Discovery phase revealed even more damaging evidence. Patricia had texted her sister, finally cleaning up Jennifer's mess. Marcus deserves better than living in her chaos. That house should have been in his name anyway. Her sister had replied, "Be careful, Patricia. It's legally Jennifer's house." Patricia's response, "I don't care. She's not good enough for my son." Never was. Those messages became Exhibit A12 in our case. The court date arrived on a Tuesday morning. The courthouse was that specific kind of intimidating: marble floors, high ceilings, the weight of justice hanging in the air. Rachel and I arrived early, settling into the courtroom while she organized her files. Patricia entered with her attorney, a middle-aged man who looked like he regretted taking this case. She wore a designer dress and her country club confidence, but I noticed stress lines around her eyes that hadn't been there before. Marcus sat in the gallery, looking miserable. He tried one last time that morning to convince me to settle. Mom said she'll return your grandmother's jewelry if you drop everything else. She gets to keep $15,000 worth of my other belongings and face no consequences? No. Judge Morrison was a woman in her 60s with a no-nonsense demeanor. She reviewed our filings before court started, and I saw her eyebrows raise several times. "This is Nakamura versus Nakamura," she announced. "Civil case regarding property damage, theft, and trespassing. Ms. Kim, you're representing the plaintiff." "Yes, Your Honor." "My client, Jennifer Nakamura, is seeking $23,000 in damages and a permanent restraining order against her mother-in-law, Patricia Nakamura." "Mr. Barnes, you're representing the defendant?" Patricia's attorney stood. "Yes, Your Honor. We're arguing this was a family misunderstanding, not a criminal matter." Judge Morrison looked at him over her glasses. "Mr. Barnes, your client hired a locksmith to break into a home she doesn't own, threw away thousands of dollars in property, and stole family heirlooms. What part of that is a misunderstanding?" "Your Honor, my client believed she was helping her son maintain his home during his absence." "Does her son own this property?" "No, Your Honor. But as his mother. Being someone's mother doesn't grant you breaking and entering privileges. Ms. Kim, present your evidence." Rachel was methodical and devastating. She played the Ring camera footage showing Patricia directing the locksmith, loading bags into her car, and making multiple trips. She presented the locksmith's testimony that Patricia lied about a medical emergency. She showed Sarah's affidavit describing Patricia's actions and her statement that she was maintaining family property. Then came the text messages. Rachel read them aloud. Patricia Nakamura to her sister, "Finally cleaning up Jennifer's mess. That house should have been in his name anyway." Patricia Nakamura to Jennifer, "This is Marcus's family home. I have every right to maintain it properly." Patricia Nakamura to her friend Carol, "I don't care what Jennifer thinks. She's never been good enough for my son. This is about family standards." Judge Morrison looked at Patricia. "Mrs. Nakamura, did you write these messages?" Patricia's attorney whispered to her. She nodded reluctantly. "Yes. And you understand that Jennifer Nakamura is the sole owner of this property? Her name alone is on the deed." "Yes, but—" "There is no but. You broke into someone else's home, destroyed their property, and stole their belongings. Your familial relationship doesn't make that legal." Judge Morrison reviewed the itemized list of damages. "Ms. Kim, you're seeking $15,000 for property replacement, $8,000 for emotional distress, and coverage of legal fees?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Plus a permanent restraining order preventing Mrs. Patricia Nakamura from coming within 100 yards of my client's home or workplace." Judge Morrison didn't hesitate. Judgment for the plaintiff. "Mrs. Patricia Nakamura, you are ordered to pay $23,000 in damages to Jennifer Nakamura within 30 days. You will return all items currently in your possession that belong to the plaintiff within 72 hours. You are permanently barred from the property located at, address, and from contacting Jennifer Nakamura except through legal counsel. Additionally, I'm ordering 200 hours of community service because, frankly, Mrs. Nakamura, your behavior was appalling." Patricia's face went from red to white. Her attorney was already writing notes, probably calculating appeals that wouldn't work. Furthermore, Judge Morrison continued, "The plaintiff's attorney fees of $18,000 will be added to your financial obligation. Total amount owed, $41,000. This is a legally binding judgment." Rachel had one more surprise. "Your Honor, we're also requesting that this judgment be reported to credit agencies if payment isn't received within the stipulated time frame." "Granted." "Mrs. Nakamura, I strongly suggest you pay promptly." This court is adjourned. Patricia stood frozen as the judge left. Her attorney was already explaining the appeals process, which would cost her another $15,000 minimum with virtually no chance of success given the overwhelming evidence. I walked past her on my way out. She grabbed my arm. You destroyed my relationship with my son. I looked at her hand on my arm until she released it. You destroyed it yourself when you broke into my house. You'll have the jewelry back within 72 hours, correct? Her attorney nodded for her. Yes. We'll coordinate with Ms. Kim. Outside the courthouse, Rachel shook my hand. That was one of the most satisfying judgments I've ever witnessed. She'll pay. The lien on her house guarantees it. Lien? Oh yes. When someone doesn't pay a civil judgment, we can place a lien on their property. She can't sell or refinance without paying you first. And with credit reporting, her credit score will tank. She's going to pay within 2 weeks. Trust me. I drove home feeling lighter than I had in months. Marcus was already there, sitting on the couch with his head in his hands. I need to serve you with something, I said, pulling the envelope from my purse. He looked up, confused, then his face fell as he took the divorce papers. Jen, your mother violated my home, and you asked me not to escalate. You chose her over me. Again. You've been choosing her over me for 6 years. I love you, but you don't protect me. You don't prioritize me. And I can't live like this anymore. I'd already moved my important documents and valuables to Casey's house. I'm staying with Casey while we figure out custody and division of assets. My attorney will contact yours. The house is mine. Solely mine. My name on the deed, remember? Your mother made sure to remind me constantly. Marcus tried to argue, but we both knew. The marriage was over. Had been over for a long time. I'd just finally admitted it. 48 hours later, true to the court order, Patricia's attorney coordinated the return of my grandmother's jewelry. Everything was there, meticulously packed. Within 2 weeks, I received a check for $41,000. Patricia had taken out a home equity line of credit to pay it rather than let the lien damage her credit score or affect her country club standing. The divorce took 6 months to finalize. I kept the house, got primary custody of Sophia with Marcus having her every other weekend, and we split our minor joint assets. Marcus moved into an apartment. He was heartbroken, but didn't fight me. I think part of him understood. Patricia tried calling once. I didn't answer. My attorney sent a reminder about the restraining order. She hasn't contacted me since. It's been 4 months now since the court judgment. My house feels like mine again. I've redecorated Sophia's room with new colors she chose herself, purple and teal instead of the pastels Patricia always insisted were appropriate for little girls. I've reorganized my kitchen exactly how I want it. I put my grandmother's jewelry box back on my dresser, and every morning when I see it, I'm reminded that I fought for what mattered. Sophia sees Marcus regularly, but our custody agreement specifies that Patricia can only see Sophia under Marcus's direct supervision and never at my home. Marcus initially pushed back, but his attorney explained that given the restraining order and Patricia's actions, he was lucky supervised visits were allowed at all. I've heard through mutual friends that Patricia's life has changed significantly. The court judgment and community service hours became public knowledge. Several of her country club friends quietly distanced themselves. Her reputation as the perfect family matriarch crumbled when people learned she'd committed burglary and theft against her daughter-in-law. Marcus apparently doesn't bring Sophia to Patricia's house much anymore. Too awkward. As for me, I got promoted again. Senior principal engineer with another $12,000 raise. I'm teaching myself woodworking and built Sophia a treehouse in our backyard. Casey and I started a monthly dinner club with other divorced women who all have nightmare in-law stories. We laugh, we drink wine, and we celebrate our freedom. The truth is, I didn't do this for revenge. I did it because it was right. Because Patricia violated my home, my property, and my sense of safety. Because my grandmother's jewelry meant something to me, and she had no right to take it. Because I worked hard to buy that house, and no one, not even my mother-in-law, gets to treat it like her personal property. But I won't lie, watching Patricia's perfect facade crumble because of her own arrogance felt satisfying. She truly believed she was entitled to my space because Marcus was her son. She believed I wasn't good enough to own that house. And the legal system proved her spectacularly wrong. Sometimes karma needs a little help from the legal system. Sometimes protecting yourself means fighting back. And sometimes the best revenge is simply enforcing your boundaries with the full force of the law. So that's my story. Sometimes the best revenge is protecting yourself and letting consequences catch up. If this story resonated with you, I'd be grateful for your support, whether that's a like, a comment, or joining this community for more stories. Drop a comment below. Have you ever had a toxic in-law who thought they owned your space? I'd love to hear your experiences. And if you're dealing with something similar right now, document everything and get legal help. You're not powerless. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where I share the story of a woman whose sister-in-law tried to steal her business and got audited by the IRS instead. Take care.